Hey Chris, how's it going, man?
Hey man, I'm good. What about you?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you so much for having me on. Obviously, I've known you for some time, so thanks so much for having me on the show today.
Yeah, sure, man. So obviously we want to dive a little bit into your tech sales career. And the first thing I want to know is like how much does the best guy in your company make?
Wow. So at my current company, I would say the best guy is making about 1.5 million a year plus. And that sounds like a lot of money. It really does. But if you think about what they're doing, essentially is they're selling a $12 million a year AI software to the biggest companies on the planet. So 1.5 million a year. And I think he's like 35, maybe 32. It's like not that much money in comparison. Obviously, right now I'm only on 250K OTE, but I think once I progress in my career, I should be able to, make a lot more than that moving forward. And just to give you guys some context into my background, I started off in my sales career back in like 2018, 2019, when I was doing sales for my own marketing agency. So I come from the background of internet marketing and, selling digital products, agency services, coaching services. And from the very first day of running my business in 2018, I realized that sales was the biggest thing. And I really struggled at the beginning. So I wanted to get into a sales career and learn about the fundamentals of sales. So after running my agency for about 2 years, I scaled it to about 5 to 10,000 a month. I started a coaching business. And in the coaching business, it was a very heavy sales focused type of business because essentially you're selling an expensive one-to-one coaching program to like loads of different people. And I dived deep into sales, learned a lot about the different sales methodologies from different gurus like Grant Cardone, Jordan Belfort. And when I did that for about a year, my coaching business basically went from $0 a month to over $35,000 a month. I remember being like 21, 22, traveling the world, and I had 2 to 3 employees full time working on my business, and I was making like 35,000 a month. And that was an extremely interesting experience because it taught me about like how sales can change your life. So after doing that for a while, I wanted a more traditional sales career. So I had my first ever sales job in 2020 after finishing university. And it was a really low paying job. It was about 30,000 a year. And I was working for a small agency startup doing sales and appointment setting and SDR type of roles, setting appointments for the team to close deals. And I learned a lot about cold calling, cold emails, LinkedIn, the basic skill set of being a sales development representative. After being there for about a year, I connected with loads of people all over the world. One of the most interesting people I met actually was a guy called Tom Tech Sales. He used to be really big on TikTok back in the day, and he had like a couple of 100,000 followers. I was basically selling a product that I was selling at the time to him. So we got on a sales call like this, and I was telling him about how I can help him. And I was really curious about what he was doing. So he was working at Google at the time, making over 500,000 a year. And I think he must have been like 30 something at the time. So I was like, dude, you're making over 500,000 a year. And it was that moment of, I don't know if you've watched Jordan Belfort's The Wolf of Wall Street movie, when Jordan Belfort is in a cafe and he's having his breakfast, and the fat guy who's married to his own cousin comes over to him and he's like, excuse me, bro, how much are you making? And Jordan Belfort looks up to him and he's like, I'm making like I made 100K last month or something. And then the fat guy is like, if you show me a paycheck for $100,000, I'll quit my job right now and I'll work for you. That whole scene ran through my head, and I'm like, oh my God. So he kind of, Tom Tech Sales became like my unofficial type of mentor. I had a few calls with him. I joined his Discord. I would jump on his YouTube videos. And that's when I found out about tech sales. So I spent a year looking for tech sales jobs, spoke to hundreds of people, hundreds of recruiters, and I convinced an AI startup in 2022 to take me on as a salesperson, as an account executive. Worked there for about 2 years, went from a 30K a year job to a 100K a year job. And then again, I left that company in 2024 because I wanted to work at the biggest company in the world within AI. I managed to get a role at this company that I'm at right now. And I was basically the first ever sales hire. This is a multi-billion dollar company. So being the first sales hire here has been amazing. I tripled my salary again, and I'm on path to, by the time I'm 30 in the next 4 or 5 years, I should be on well over 1 million a year. And this is why I created a little community to help other people out as well, because sales completely transformed my life from the age of 18 all the way till now. It has changed my life in incredible ways, and um, I could not be more thankful to people like Tom Sales Tech, or whatever his name is, Tom Sales, and other people in the tech sales industry. They've helped me out a lot, so I am forever grateful for them.
Yeah, crazy story, man. That sounds really like a crazy, crazy story, but really cool. And thank you for sharing this. So, like, how would you say would somebody like new be able to break into tech sales and get a 100K tech sales job?
Yeah, I mean, getting a 100K tech sales job is actually not that difficult, to be totally honest with you. So I've probably helped about 80 to 100 people this year already get, 50 to 100K tech sales jobs through my community. I have a little Discord and I help people out in there. Basically, what happened was in 2023, I started helping out my girlfriend, friends, neighbors get into tech sales because everybody saw me making loads of money. And what happens is when in your friend circle, when people see you making a lot of money, they immediately copy what you're doing as their friend, right? So I did that for about a year, helped like 20, 30 people that I knew, created the Discord community at the beginning of 2024, helped loads of people out. By the way, feel free to message me on LinkedIn or Instagram or wherever you see this. Happy to send over the link that you can join our Discord community. But I would say the best way to get a tech sales job that pays you over 100K a year in 3 steps is number one, make sure your LinkedIn profile and your CV look fantastic, metrics driven, value driven, like you have all the metrics in your CV. Make sure it's a one-page CV. You don't need an about me summary. You don't need a picture of yourself on your CV. Keep it like super metrics driven. We also have some templates in the Discord community as well that can help you with that. Then the second thing that you should do is make sure your LinkedIn profile looks really professional, really good, and look at some top LinkedIn profiles that other salespeople have. Emulate what they're doing. Once you've fixed your CV and your LinkedIn profile, what I did, and this was a hack that I actually found out, was use a lead generation tool, like a software tool, to connect with your LinkedIn, and then use that tool to outreach to like 5 to 10 recruiters a day. In the next few months after that, you should easily be able to be connected with hundreds of recruiters. And what recruiters do is they essentially get paid for helping you find a 100K job. The more they get you paid, the more money they make. And then once you've connected with loads of people, get better at interviews, get a interview prep partner. You can do that in the Discord community that we have or with your friends and family. Do a lot of interviews, get a 100K tech sales job. And that's been my experience, to be totally honest with you.
Yeah, I agree, man. It's definitely possible and people can quickly get there. So I'm curious, what is your originating story?
Yeah, that's a great story. That's a great question. So, like I said, been in sales since like 2018. Just to go back a little bit, right? My family are immigrants. I come from Afghanistan. I wasn't born in the UK. So we came to the UK in 2007. When I first come to the UK, I couldn't speak English. We didn't have a passport. My dad didn't really have that much money. And the first few years of my life was pretty difficult. We didn't have that much money. I honestly remember walking like around town and stuff like that. And when we saw like a bed or like a free sofa, we would pick it up and take it home just because we didn't have the basic things to live, right? So having those crazy experiences as an immigrant with very little money really pushed that entrepreneurial drive and money driven mindset into me. And I was like, look, my life right now is quite difficult, right? But thank God I'm healthy, I'm young. And I was also very motivated, money driven from that time. And I found out about entrepreneurship, selling products online, tech sales, and sales in general at a very early age. And I knew that I wanted to make a lot of money to help my family, to help my community. So from the first business that I ran when I was 16, before going to university, I was always entrepreneurial. I was always like looking for ways to make money, selling sweets and drinks in school, all the way to selling other stuff at university, like books, products. I was basically selling my coursework to other friends at university. So I always had that mindset of making money, selling stuff to people, convincing people, persuading people. And, and that's what really led me to be where I am today. And I would say that's like my origin story. And again, I just want to give a big shout out to all my mentors, my friends like Tom Tech Sales, who was like an ex mentor of mine, other people that have unintentionally mentored me from different programs that I did at university, after university, different online courses that I did through other sales mentors and coaching programs. Jordan Balfour, Grant Cardone. I actually have a picture with Grant Cardone somewhere posted, maybe on LinkedIn. And I remember meeting him, and he was telling me like, look, man, you're young, you're at an amazing event right now. Take my course. I remember taking his course. It was about $2,000 for a 2-day course back in 2019. where I learned about the fundamentals of sales, how do you persuade someone to buy a product. And again, those are like some of those instances that really shaped me into the person I am today.
Yeah, amazing, man. And how did you get into tech sales? What was your road?
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, when I finished university in 2020, I did a sales job, like a non-tech sales job. I learned a lot about setting appointments, being a good sales development representative, learning the basics of cold calling, cold emails, and setting appointments for an account executive. And then after that, I spoke to hundreds of people that I knew. I messaged loads of people on LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, different sales mentors. They told me about tech sales. And in 2022, I joined a very early startup, and I was their first sales hire. So that company, I'm forever grateful for the founders of that company because they helped me get that opportunity and my foot in the door. And then from there onwards, I always knew that I wanted to stay in tech sales. So for me, in the next 5 to 10 years, by the time I'm 30, we'll be working in tech sales and getting to that $1 million a year type of situation, which would be amazing.
Amazing. That sounds really cool. So, how much do your friends make in sales, well, like in tech sales?
So the guy that I know that's making the most amount of money, he works at a really big company. It's a very famous company. I'm not going to mention the company's name, but it's very, very prominent, especially in the UK. It's a UK startup. And this guy is like 26, so he's the same age as me. Very clever, very smart. He actually went to Cambridge to study something, finance something. And obviously he realized finance was bullshit. So he joined this company 4 years ago. And I think when he was 24 years old, he made over £1 million, which is a million, 1.2, $1.3 million at 24 years old. And I wouldn't say we're like friends, but we're like, more like acquaintances and we know the same recruiters. I'm sure one day I run a Discord channel. I'm sure one day, like a sales community, I'm sure one day I'll be able to bring him on and interview him so he can share his background. But then I also know loads of other people that are making 300K, 400K. One of my neighbors where I live in London, he works at Oracle. He makes 300K a year. One of my, I go to this boxing MMA type of gym. I know a guy there who works at AWS, Amazon Web Services. He makes like 800K a year. He's like 29 or something. So I know loads of people that are making like close to a million. But I would say this guy, this 26-year-old guy, is probably the only one that I know personally that's making over £1 million a year.
Yeah, crazy, crazy, insane stories. And how would you describe a day in the life of a tech sales person,
Well,
somebody working?
for me right now, so my job is fully remote. I can be anywhere in the world I want to be. So the next few months, I'm going to be traveling to Bali, Australia, America, even like Zambia and stuff like that. I'm going on crazy trips with friends and work trips. So it's all remote. I can be wherever I want to be. And essentially what I do on a day-to-day basis is I first start off my day by going through some emails and stuff like that. Then I basically do some discovery calls with some clients and customers, have some lunch, and then I spend the rest of the day setting appointments with new clients and customers. Essentially, what I do as a senior enterprise sales development representative is I set appointments for the account executive, and that account executive closes the deal with the customer. So essentially, I set the appointments, qualify the customer, and then the account executive steps in and closes that deal. For me, by the end of this year, I should be in a position where I could be closing deals. Maybe by the end of next year. It is a very complicated product. It's super technical. It's obviously artificial intelligence. And so therefore, it's going to take a bit of time for me to learn about closing the deals in that industry. So right now, that's pretty much what I do every day.
Very cool. And what are your goals for 2024?
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of like personal goals. So I want to do public speaking classes, mixed martial arts classes, jiu-jitsu, doing public speaking classes, acting classes, and a bunch of other like personal stuff. I would say like on a professional level, double my salary. So go from 250K a year to 500K a year. That would be the goal. Maybe even move to America, because I really like the industry, tech sales industry in America. You can make a lot more money than you can in the UK. And then I would say the final goal that I have this year, and I actually have a little YouTube channel as well. I want to help 500 people in 2024 land a 100K a year remote tech sales job. That's like a vision and a mission that I'm on, and I want to help as many people as possible. So if I can help 500 people, I've already helped 100 people get a 100K tech sales job. So if I can help another 400 people, I'll be blessed and I'll be super happy.
That sounds amazing, man. And last question, maybe, why do you think, like a lot of times people discuss that you can make a lot of money in finance and in law. Why do you think, like tech sales is less common to be talked about?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So just to give you some background, when I was at university, a lot of my friends, especially the clever ones, were always thinking about going into finance and law. And I actually tried to go into finance and I actually tried to go into law. But very quickly, what I realized is that law, especially in the UK and in America, and finance, like investment banking, it's very hierarchical. It's very prestigious. They only hire from Cambridge, Oxford, Harvard, Yale. You will never, ever meet anybody that works in a bank in the UK in investment banking that went to a top 50 university. They only hire from the top 10 universities. So I realized that it was a waste of time for me to try and get into that industry. And on top of that, it's also extremely difficult. You work 14, 16, 17, 18 hours a day. And most of the time you're making less money at the beginning than working in tech sales. Like right now, I don't know many of my friends that are 26 that are making over 250K in their finance jobs. So I knew I would also make more money in tech sales. And I think the reason that finance and law and stuff like that is talked about more is because they're both more like traditional industries, careers, right? And they've been around for like centuries. And on top of that, a lot of movies about business and TV shows about business, like The Wolf of Wall Street or like Suits, which is a big TV show in America, is all about those two careers. Whereas tech sales is an emerging industry. Tech is an emerging industry. It's not very well known. It's not really taught in universities or in schools. And on top of that, sales seems like from the outside like a sleazy thing, like you're manipulating people, convincing people to do what they don't want to do. You have to be extremely extroverted, where it's in fact the complete opposite. The most introverted people are the best salespeople. The nicest people are the best salespeople. The most honest people are the best salespeople. And those are like the main reasons why I think that tech sales is not really talked about that much.
Yeah, amazing, man. Thanks for sharing that. And yeah, thank you for taking the time. Yeah, and I hope you have a nice day.
Also, man, hopefully we can speak again soon. Thank you very much. If people want to follow me, I have a link in my YouTube channel. They can join like a Discord community that we have completely for free. And maybe you'll learn a few things about tech sales and maybe you'll get a job in the industry. So thank you very much. Take care.
Amazing. Thank you for your help. See you.
Cheers.